Although no one dared to escort Luo Zheng still consciously came to the drill hall. Although Luo Zheng was very dissatisfied with the Luo family's current rules, second uncle and third uncle themselves couldn't follow the Ming dynasty's rules, and their sons were also too idle. For example, Luo Peiran and Luo Chengyun, when did they put the family rules in their eyes? This was also the reason why a few servants who couldn't be seen in public dared to make such a ruckus. But others trampled on the family rules, others despised the family rules, but that didn't mean Luo Zheng didn't abide by them. He wasn't pedantic, but a kind of insistence. The atmosphere in the drill hall was a bit different from the past. The news that Luo Zheng beat up steward Huang Gu and steward Fang Tsong had already spread throughout the Luo family. 2 years ago, Luo Zheng was demoted to a family slave and became a human target in the drill hall. He had always resigned himself to it. No matter how the Luo family's disciples beat him, he endured, let them go, and didn't say a word, like a docile sheep. Everyone had already forgotten that he was once the Luo family's young master, and they had also forgotten that Luo Zheng himself also had the strength of the flesh refining stage. Now these Luo family's disciples understood that Luo Zheng wasn't a tolerant person. The Luo family's disciples could beat him wantonly because he was surnamed Luo. Others didn't have the qualifications. Because of this, the Luo family's disciples in the drill hall today looked at Luo Zheng with a faint sense of awe. When the Luo family's instructor instructed the Luo family's disciples to choose a human target, unexpectedly, no one chose Luo Zheng. Luo Zheng showed a helpless and bitter smile. This wasn't the result he wanted. What he needed most now was to temper his body, but these Luo family's disciples directly ignored him. How could this be? He couldn't go up and say, I'm asking for a beating, so come and beat me up, right? Seeing the human targets around him being taken away one by one, leaving him all alone in the drill hall, Luo Zheng was very unhappy. The Luo family's disciples shouldn't be so cowardly. He walked over to Luo Dalong, who was smashing the stone man, and said, Dalong, what's so good about hitting a stone man? I'll practice with you. This. Even the impetuous Luo Dalong hesitated. I'm a human target, so of course I have to practice with you. Don't worry, my leather armor is thick and won't break. Luo Zheng patted his chest and said. Since Luo Zheng had said so, Luo Dalong was too embarrassed to refuse. Otherwise, he would appear to be too cowardly, even though his true intention was not to provoke Luo Zheng. Luo Dalong had some misgivings in his heart. When he punched out, it was not the case. Normally, he could exert 10% of his strength, but now, he could only exert 5 or 6% of his strength. Luo Zheng was very dissatisfied with the fact that his soft fists didn't have a good tempering effect. The warm current generated from his fists was too little. Use more strength. Hit here hard. Your fist speed is too slow. What are you worried about? This fist seems to be the case, but it's still far from yesterday's. Seeing a human target instructing his opponent to beat him up, the group of Luo family disciples in the martial arts hall were so surprised that their jaws dropped. They really couldn't guess what Luo Zheng was thinking. Luo Dalong didn't think too much about it. Under Luo Zheng's guidance, his state slowly adjusted. His hands and feet gradually relaxed, and his strength returned to normal. Bang! 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 The power of his fists frantically pounded Luo Zheng's body. Strands of warm current flowed into Luo Zheng's body, peeling off the impurities in his bones and refining them. Every fist purified his bones a bit, and the strength and toughness of his bones also increased by a level. As long as he was beaten, it was like swallowing a heaven and earth fortune pill. The joy brought about by this kind of qualitative change was indescribable. On the surface, he showed a painful expression, but in his heart, he wanted to shout, let the fists come more fiercely. The copper kettle used to measure time in the martial arts hall leaked no less than 3 kettles of water. 6 hours had passed. At this time, the servants of the Luo family brought in food. Whether it was the Luo family disciples or the human target, they all needed to replenish their strength. However, the Luo family disciples ate delicacies, while the human target was treated with water and hard steamed buns. After 6 hours of tempering, Luo Zheng also felt very hungry. Tempering his body consumed a lot of his strength, but he didn't mind that the food tasted bad. He grabbed a steamed bun and was about to stuff it into his mouth. At this time, a porcelain bowl suddenly appeared in front of Luo Zheng. It was filled with delicate fragrant meat, exuding an enticing aroma. Luo Zheng looked up and saw that Luo Dalong had handed over his bowl. Luo Dalong smiled and said, "Let's eat together." Luo Zheng didn't stand on ceremony. He ate big mouthfuls of steamed bun and meat. "You hit Huang Gu. Second young master will deal with you," Luo Dalong said in a low voice. Luo Zheng wolfed down the food. Ever since he became a human target, he hadn't eaten such delicious food for a long time. He nodded. He knew that Luo Dalong was reminding him out of kindness. After all, he used to be the young master of the Luo family. He knew more about the family's affairs than Luo Dalong and the other branch family disciples. Second uncle and third uncle didn't let him live for so long. The biggest reason was not that they were benevolent, but that he was too weak. He was like a dispensable ant, unable to pose any threat to them. However, if Luo Zheng, this ant, bit them and made them feel a trace of pain, they wouldn't hesitate to kill him. But it's very satisfying. "We've long disliked that old man surnamed Huang," Luo Dalong said with a smile. Luo Dalong wasn't the only one who felt satisfied. Apart from the second and third branches, all of the Luo family disciples felt satisfied. Although the Luo family disciples in the martial arts practice field didn't say it out loud like Luo Dalong, their eyes said it all. In the past 2 years, the actions of the second branch and the third branch could be described as perverse. They greatly reduced the monthly allowances of the collateral family members. Even the medicinal pills used for cultivation were cut again and again. Even a few servants could climb over the head of the surnamed Luo. Based on what? Almost all of the resources were given to Luo Peiran and Luo Chengyun. It would be strange if the branch family disciples were mentally balanced. Now, everyone missed the time when Luo Zheng's father was the head of the family. At that time, the family rules were strict, but the Luo family didn't have so much intrigue, and no servants dared to bully others. It wasn't so unfair. It was a pity that those good days were gone and would never come back. Even this kind of nostalgia, the Luo family disciples only dared to hide it in their hearts. They didn't dare to criticize it, for fear that they would be punished by the family rules. This Luo family was already rotten. Luo Zheng sighed in his heart. If there was a chance, when his strength grew, he would definitely gouge out this rotten sore of the Luo family, in front of the magnificent mansion of the Luo family's third branch. Huang Ji's head was wrapped in layers of gauze. Only his nose, eyes, and mouth were exposed. It was completely impossible to see his human appearance. He knelt on the ground with a plop and cried in a high-pitched voice, "Young Master Chengyun, you have to make a decision for me." In front of Huang Gu, a young man in black leaned on a chair. This young man had a handsome appearance, but there was an arrogant and ruthless aura between his eyebrows. He was the second young master of the Luo family, Luo Chengyun. "I heard that you want to take Luo Zheng as a servant to take care of your food and shelter?" Luo Chengyun tilted his head and smiled. "Young Master Chengyun, it's not that." Huang Gu denied with a trace of sobbing. Luo Chengyun simply didn't listen to Huang Ji's explanation. He smiled and said, "Although Luo Zheng was demoted to a servant, in any case, his surname is Luo, and he was once the young master of the Luo family. Even if I take him as a servant, it's not appropriate. You must have burned your brain to do this kind of senseless thing. You deserve to be beaten. Huang Gu kowtowed and continued to cry, young Master Cheng Yun, this time I was wrong, but you still have to make a decision for me. As he cried, he quietly made a gesture to the side. A middle-aged woman about 40 years old next to him silently walked to Huang Ji's side and knelt down as well. This middle-aged woman was Huang Ji's wife and also Luo Chengyun's wet nurse. She had taken care of Luo Chengyun since he was young. Luo Chengyun's mother died when he was young, but he had a very good relationship with this wet nurse, as if they were mother and son. Second mother, you don't need to kneel. Huang Gu, you also stand up. Luo Chengyun waved his hand. Huang Ji's voice trembled, young Master Chengyun, do you agree? Luo Chengyun stood up from the chair, walked 2 steps, and said, Cousin Peiran previously said that he would spare Luo Zheng's life so that he could keep him alive and watch over him. However, Luo Zheng isn't an important person. Now that Cousin Peiran is about to leave for the Blue Cloud sect, I'll help Cousin Peiran get rid of him. Hearing this, Huang Ji's deformed mouth opened and said, Thank you, young Master Chengyun. However, this matter still needs to wait. Luo Chengyun touched his head and said, I've just swallowed the last heaven and earth fortune pill of the clan. This month, I'm going to go into seclusion to refine the pill's efficacy and cleanse my body. How about we wait until the clan refinement day in a month? On that day, I'll choose him as my opponent and kill him with my own hands. After saying this, Luo Chengyun's face emitted layers of killing intent. The clan refinement day was also the day when the Luo clan's disciples would inspect their strength. On that day, the Luo clan's elders would appear and inspect the results of the Luo clan's disciples' cultivation. At the same time, the clan refinement day was also an opportunity for human targets. As long as they could survive the deathmatch environment on the clan refinement day, they would regain their freedom. Even the lowliest human targets had the right to desire freedom. If they couldn't see the dawn of freedom, they wouldn't be able to withstand the pressure of being beaten every day and would quickly die. The purpose of setting this rule was to give all the human targets a glimmer of hope. They hoped that they could survive the deathmatch on the clan refinement day and walk out of the Luo clan, no longer having to be a lowly human target. However, the deathmatch environment itself was unfair. The human targets were often beaten every day and suffered all kinds of injuries. How could they fight against the well-trained elite disciples of the Luo clan? Who knew how many human targets had been beaten to death on the clan refinement day? That day was the day when the Luo clan's elders would inspect the strength of the Luo clan's disciples. According to their strength, they would give a certain amount of rewards. Every Luo clan disciple would go all out, and it was also the time when they hit the hardest. Okay, young Master Chengyun, then let that brat Luo Zheng live for another month. Huang Gu kowtowed a few more times before rolling and crawling up from the ground. His eyes under the gauze revealed an ominous glint of hatred. After Luo Chengyun left, the middle-aged woman tried to persuade Huang Gu that Luo Zheng is quite pitiful. Why do you have to force him to death? He shouldn't have beaten you, but it's enough to teach him a lesson. Huang Gu said, You're just a woman. Besides being soft-hearted, what else do you know?